Our next speaker is also a former governor from the great state of Pennsylvania. Please welcome Governor Ed Rendell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Words don't mean anything unless there's enforcement, implementation, and unless there is an eventual product. But there are two words that the United States and the United Nations haven't used that have to be used, and those two words are why and no. There is no doubt, not one scintilla, not one iota of doubt, that the United States has a moral and legal responsibility to ensure that the residents of Camp Ashraf are protected in every way until each and every one of them is relocated on foreign soil. There's no doubt about that. It's our responsibility. If you listen to these phone calls that we've been having with the State Department and other U.S. officials, there is all sorts of attempts to avoid responsibility. Well, it's the Iraqis' responsibility now, or it's the United Nations' responsibility. No, it is the United States' responsibility to make sure that this works out correctly. Now, I keep thinking that you are a wonderful audience because many of you have heard many of us speak on a number of occasions. And there are a number of speakers, and after a while, we're all emphasizing the same points. But those are points that need to be emphasized. And if you look back over what's happened since July, it's amazing to me how we have shown, the United States and the United Nations have shown virtually no backbone at all. First of all, we should have used the word no when it came to the Iraqi government's objection to having United Nations blue helmets or U.S. troops protecting the residents of Ashraf until they were relocated. That was the first mistake. What was wrong with that? If the Iraqis had no ill intention, if the Iraqis were committed to the safety of these residents as well, what would the problem have been to have the United States leave? Colonel Martin has told me that we could have left about a small company of U.S. soldiers or U.S. Marines, and that would have guaranteed their protection. Or if they didn't want the United States because we were leaving the country, what about UN soldiers? Well, what was the reason? We didn't ask the Iraqis why they objected to that, because there's no good reason for them to object to that. And then we didn't ask a second question. Why relocate out of Camp Ashraf at all? Why? What was wrong? What harm was being done to the Iraqi government by having these 3,400 people live peacefully, controlling their own destiny, paying for their own expenses, living peacefully, endangering and threatening no one in this camp? Why was it necessary to move them? Why couldn't the UNHCR have done its work in Camp Ashraf? We were told that was unacceptable, but nobody told us why. And think about it. What possible reason was relocation necessary? Why couldn't the goals, if the Iraqis are honest, that they want these people out, why couldn't it have been done in Camp Ashraf? Why didn't we ask that question? And getting no good answer, why didn't we just have a little backbone and say, no, they're staying in Ashraf until the relocation process is done? We didn't ask that question. And now, in the face of tremendously responsible conduct by your president and by the residents of Ashraf in going along with this plan, with no assurances. We're going along with a plan, and we're trusting the word, although I give Secretary Clinton credit for the Christmas Day letter she sent, the Christmas Day statement she sent, in which she said that we're counting on the Iraqi government to ensure the safety and ensure there won't be violence. But what assurances do we have? We were counting on them to protect the residents in 2009, and we were counting on them in 2011. Given their track record, why didn't we just say, no, We're not going to count on you to protect them. We're going to go along with the plan to relocate them. You want them out of the country, but we're going to make sure that there are U.S. or UN troops on site to protect them. Why didn't we say why? Why didn't we ask why? And why, receiving no good answer, didn't we say no? And now, responsible behavior by the MEK, by the President, responsible behavior by the residents, those 400 residents who've signed on to go. But it's time to ask the Iraqis why. Why we went from a 40-kilometer base to a less than 1-kilometer base. What was the reason for it? Was there any good reason? Was it necessary to protect Iraqi security? Was it necessary for intelligence purposes?